has an inventory that is up to date, and their professional staff can help you with any part that you need. Stop by Napa Auto Parts today, located at 136 North Generals Boulevard, open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturdays 8 to 4:30 p.m., or call 704-735-0411. Napa Auto Parts also would like to say good luck to the Maiden Blue Devils this season and to number 55, Presley Poovey.
Napa know-how.
Do you have a wet basement or a wet crawl space? How about mold and mildew? Neeline Co. Moisture and Water Control can help control moisture in your home to keep safe from fungal growth, mold colonization, and its destruction. Neeline Co. proudly serving the Carolinas. Call Neeline Co. today at 1-888-7-THE-WEB for a free estimate and get $25 off any new service. Again, that number is 1-888-7-THE-WEB for Neeline Co. Moisture and Water Control. Now's the time to buy your new Kubota from Parker Farm Service in Kings Mountain. Right now, pay zero money down. Get 0% APR financing for 60 months. Come on in now for all the details. All for good on the Kubota BX Series, the Kubota B Series, the Kubota L Series, and the Kubota MX Series tractors. Again, zero money down and 0% APR financing for 60 months. Get your new Kubota today at Parker Farm Service, 126 Bessie Drive in Kings Mountain.
Yeah. You hear them pads going clack, 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 clack. You hear them clicks going tap, 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 tap.
704 beats by Alex J.
Yeah. First and 10. We in the trenches. You like the water cooler. You be on the benches. Think your team better, but they lack skill. First snap, I lay your backs in the backfield. Your quarterback scared, I see it in his eyes. Sent the receiver in motion, that's just a disguise. My linebackers, they stepping up. Clog a hole, no letting up. Taking on them big blocks. On fourth down, we get big stops. My secondary is balling out. Your offense keeps stalling out. How many yards? Like none at all. Call the special teams, come punt the ball and it's gone. And you never see me fair catch. I get a block and then I'm gone like a Lear jet. My helmet on, pass strap tight. My jersey shining in them Friday night lights. Win. We just came to win. Win. We just came to win. Friday night lights. Friday night lights. Win. We just came to win. Win. We must protect this house. I'm in a huddle talking to the Hawks. We gonna run it down their throats soon as we get the ball. Come out and fire off the ball. We going on.
And good evening and welcome to the Renaldo Automall post-game show, North Carolina High School football post-game show. I'm Kevin Hastings along with Dennis Davis, Will Boykins, Andre Bush, Terry Reinhardt's in the house. Joel just walked in, Clemmer. And Calvin Hastings is on the board tonight. No JP tonight.
No JP.
He was doing camera tonight for the Shelby Golden Lions game.
Oh, right. Oh.
So send your cards and letters to JP.
For you
cameraman fans to JP. I know some of
you mean we're not going to get to hear JP tonight?
No, not tonight. But he'll be back in the morning. So we're going to give you the scores in just a second. Calvin, you got send it back to you just for a second.
Yeah, I got something special here, and appreciate you looking this up. Of course, we lost our buddy and friend and co-worker, Steve Roberts, better known as Steve Robay and Associates, this past Sunday night after, I guess, a year, maybe a little more than a year and a half long battle with diabetes. And, of course, he was famous for helping us out with our remotes and such, and we did a lot of remotes at our sponsor's dealership, Renaldo Automall, and we've all tried to imitate it, but we can't duplicate it. Does that make sense?
Well,
often imitated, never duplicated.
Never duplicated.
He is the original.
He's the original, and Kevin found a little excerpt here of him introducing the Renaldo Automall postgame show as only Steve Roberts could do. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's a blast from the past.
It might be muted there. Yep.
Surely not.
Hit it.
Yeah, it was.
There it is. It's still coming. It's still. You didn't
Oh, it's
have-
still coming?
Yeah,
Okay.
You were okay.
Eat some dinner from.
Well,
Did we mention
stop it,
our
I'll
dinner
come.
tonight? We got from Parkway House in
It's
Cherryville.
great stuff. And Papa
Excellent.
John's earlier. And
Papa John's earlier.
And look, Steve, the Renaldo Auto Mall show.
Ronaldo.
Think your team better, but they lack skill. First snap, I leave your backs in the backfield. Your quarterback scared, I see it in his eyes.
why they
Sit
get
the
that,
receiver in motion, that's just a disguise. My linebackers, they step.
We're going to go ahead and do some scores.
Okay, well, hang on a second. Hang on a second. I don't think we got it, did we?
Give the scores. All right, Will. You take that 2 boards over there, and I'll take these 2 over here.
All right. So, tonight in, what is that, Catawba County? Bunker Hill, 16. Fred T. Ford, 14. We had McDowell falling to St. Stephen's 28-7. Watauga over Alexander Central 42-10. Mountain Island Charter over Union Academy of Charter 50-0. Big goose egg. Drone 44, Patton 6. High Brighton 52, West Caldwell 0. We had Freedom 22, Hickory 23. Thomas Jefferson 70, Pine Lake Prep 16. No score in the Bessemer City Highland Tech game yet. If you went to that Bessemer City Highland Tech game, please give us a call. No score in the Statesville Christian Christ the King game. If you went to that game, please give us a call. North Lincoln over Lincoln Charter 63-0. Newton Conover over Bandies 36-13. Maiden falls to West Lincoln.
Yeah,
West
Rebels.
Lincoln,
West
excuse
Lincoln,
me.
There you go.
28-27.
We're gonna have a lot to talk about that game tonight.
Forest View 42, Ashbrook 35.
Crazy game down in Gaston.
And breaking news, Will.
Breaking news.
Statesville Christian.
Statesville Christian 35. Christ the King 6.
Yep.
And they scored this week.
Got on the board.
Speaking of scoring, the Chase Trojans scored tonight, Kevin.
Yep.
They got 6.
Yep.
But the Burns Bulldogs got 41.
Mm-hmm.
Even without Matt Royster there.
Yes.
And it was the North Gaston Wildcats being overrun by Kings Mountain Mountaineers tonight, 70-0. Terry claims that he predicted that score.
He might have got a couple scores. What I was told in the pregame.
Well, I won't say anything about
He
him
got 3
picking.
West Lincoln scores. What I was thinking.
Hunter got
got
that
the
score
Kings
right.
Yeah, that's right. You predicted
Someone did have the half
would
one.
win tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Cherryville Ironman 14, Community School of Davidson 26. It was the RS Central Hilltoppers tonight. They played a real football team tonight, and the Shelby Golden Lions beat them 51-0. And over at Sid Bryson Stadium and George Litton Field, Will, the Crest Chargers squeaked by the Stuart Kramer Purple Storm 48-0. And a slobber knocker over here in Lincoln County, Kevin. We'll talk more about this later. The East Lincoln Mustangs pulled out a 10-7 victory over the Lincolnton Wolves
The
tonight.
South Fork 2A tonight had some outstanding games tonight. We're going to get into that. Let's see. The stat of the night, folks, take it home with you. Cleveland County tonight at halftime was up 153-0.
Halftime.
So for you Cleveland County fans, we're not going to break down those games tonight. We got a couple of things to do tonight. We got to talk about some Steve Robey, some things to do with him, and we've got to get into these Lincoln County games tonight.
Yes.
For you Cleveland County folks, we're not going to break down we're going to get our regular announcers are going to give us the stats on our MVPs tonight. We got plenty of weeks to talk about Cleveland County football, and we got some big games coming up. So for you Cleveland County fans tonight, let's keep a little back on the phones. We've got to get our announcers to give us a call and give us the stats because we got our sponsors and MVPs to go over. We had the outstanding games in Lincoln County tonight. Lincoln and Williams and East Lincoln on the radio. Turnover there in the fourth quarter. back and forth. Will was listening to it down the hall. He's going to give you some updates on that. Hopefully Tim and Ken can get back to us. Keywan Pryor, from my count from watching, just thinking, had maybe 4 touchdowns called back tonight.
Just 4.
I think it might have been 6 or 7, but I think it was at least
That
5.
first
at
half
least
of that Burns
4.
game was crazy.
He's
It
so
was
amazing.
crazy.
He's so fun to watch. I told you guys when they got to the 2A defenses,
Yeah.
it's going to be tough to swallow for those defenses.
Well, now there is one team looming in their future there.
Right, the Shelby Golden Lions, and I think you need to reverse that, Dennis. Didn't
Oh.
the Burns Bulldogs beat them last year?
They certainly did.
All right, so I don't know. What do you give me a sec? So real quick, Cherryville and Community School Davis had another close one on WCSL. We're waiting on the Best City Highland score.
I got it. Bessemer City 36, Highland Tech 16.
Terry, you've been outsourced.
You have been
36 what?
outsourced.
What? What'd you say, Calvin?
36 16.
36-16. Yellow Jackets win tonight
20-point
over
victory.
Highland Tech. We're working on the top 10. We're going to have that for you shortly after all the final scores coming in. All right, Calvin, I think we got our. You ready to play the clip?
Yeah, let's play the clip. Okay, this
All
is
right.
our.
I
this is
think we
our-
got it ready.
I think so. This is our buddy Steve Roberts when he used to introduce the Renaldo Automall postgame show.
Win. We just came to win. 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 We just came to win. Friday night. Friday night lights. Friday night. Friday night lights. Win.
Welcome back to the Ronaldo post-game show.
Game show.
Hey.
I'm your
Lock it
host,
down.
Dennis Davis, and boy,
There you go.
Yeah.
Did you have a year on that a couple of years ago, maybe?
That right there is a 2015 video. I just went
Okay.
and did my best to find an older one. There's probably, I mean, anyone that we have on our YouTube channel, besides this year and most of last year, we'll have Steve on it. And
Well, we got Tim Foster on the line. I
right,
think
we
he's got some
special
words
callers.
too.
We got some special callers tonight from the KTC family.
Okay, Tim, take it away, buddy.
Hey guys, how we doing tonight?
Oh, doing great, Tim. 48-0. Good game.
Yeah, it's a good game. Main reason I was calling, it was great to hear that old clip with Steve.
Yeah.
I tell you guys, we're going to miss Steve. I know all of you guys are. He was just such a, he's so good on the board, and Calvin knows it, and all you guys even better. That no matter what game it was, football, basketball, baseball, he was always just such a professional, and he was just always such a great guy to talk to and laugh with, and some of his stories were great. And I know Calvin and Kevin, it had to be a pleasure to work with him all those years.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Tell you what, we're gonna miss that joker. I tell you, I saw him Friday, 2 days before he passed away, and I went there by his hospital bed, and we're talking, and he'd look over, and he couldn't say anything, but he could smile, and them eyes were bright, and I told him we wanted him back here. We wanted him back, and he's always going to be here in spirit, no doubt about it.
Well, I talked to somebody this week, Tim, and they said, well, I guess Steve will be running the board for Dan Greer tonight.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. Two of the classiest guys, and I was honored to be able to work with them and call them friends, and of course Andy and Rob could say the same thing. Andy, of course, knew him for many, many more years, and I'm just it's great to be able to dedicate all the games to him tonight. And great night for Cleveland County, like Kevin said. There are a lot of different things. A lot of people want to get in, so I won't be on long. But just a great guy, and it's really, really cool what you guys are doing to remember him tonight.
Well, he was a great guy, and I don't mean just on the radio. He was a true Southern gentleman. One of Durham's finest. We had many interesting conversations waiting, for the games to finish up and go on the air. So, Steve, thumbs up, buddy. You will be missed.
Well, I tell you what, it's kind of right that he passed this time of the year because Steve loved the Cleveland County Fair.
Yep.
And he would go out and sit with me broadcasting live at the fair. And him and Carol Mitchum, who sponsors our pregame meals at Mitchum's Kitchen, they would have a time on the air, and they would laugh and cut up. And Steve, when Carol started talking about those pinto bean plates, well, you can imagine how Steve reacted to that.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a lot of fun, and I know Steve loved the Cleveland County Fair at this time of the year.
Yeah, and I just think, Calvin, and I'll wrap it up with this. I just think of and I mentioned this, all the championship games that he covered. I mean, he covered so many in post-game shows and pre-game shows and events in the fair, like you mentioned. But I remember some of those championship Saturdays where he would run the board for a couple different of our championship teams from, Lincoln County, Cleveland County, Gaston County that were playing, and I always thought that was pretty neat as well.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. He loved sports, and and I don't think it mattered to him who won or lost. He just loved the game and loved, loved the kids that played. So a big tribute night and for Steve Roban. We're going to remember him. We're going to miss him.
No doubt. Hey, guys, thanks for the time tonight, and I'll look forward to listening to the rest of the program. Y'all have a great evening.
Thank you, Tim.
Take care.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim Foster. I think we've got another caller on the line.
I believe we do. I believe Steve DeGree.
Yep.
What's happening, fellas?
Hey, Steve.
What's going on, Steve?
I was just listening to talk about Mr. Roberts. I called him Mr. Roberts. I called him Mr. Roberts. I don't know if he was a chef or not. I think he was. I'm not for sure.
I don't know. I'm not sure where
I think
Steve
he
graduated
grew up
from.
in
Durham.
Durham.
Yeah,
And,
right.
but he
right.
did, I think, teach at Shelby High
he did
for a while.
That is another thing everybody forgets about his teaching as well. Right.
Yeah,
I
he
know
was a
had
retired
some,
teacher.
Chef
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah, he had the Shelby connection, and I hate to say it, but when Steve would actually get a little excited about them lines when they were playing down there, especially against the Chargers, Steve. So he was on your side. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I knew it was some kind of connection around because he would always ask me about the golden lines. But I can say he's gonna be truly missed. He was a nice, really nice guy.
Oh, that is the case. He was first team All-American as a gentleman.
Yes, he was.
Well, yeah, Steve. A lot, a lot of folks, you don't never, you hear the announcers talking, but a lot of times you don't hear the guys back in the studios, like Dad was saying. Not only for the football games, but the American Legion games as well. If you've heard a commercial in the past, 40 years here during one of those games or something, it was probably Steve playing them.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, I just want to say, Chef, I did pretty good tonight. They stymied RS from the get-go. They ran a 5-man front because, they did a lot of running. So we had to change our defensive lineup tonight. So we took out a safety and added another defensive lineman for the triple option that they ran. And we just took over and we blocked the first punt. Then Deshaun Christopher recovered it for a touchdown. And it was down here from there. They just controlled the game from start to finish.
All right, and who have you guys got next week, Steve?
We got Chase at Chase.
Well, just to let you know how that came out tonight, the Bulldogs handled the Trojans 41-6. I think the streak is okay. I believe you're going to be all right.
Yeah, they haven't really played any football compared to Cleveland County football. But, they always be hoping that this will be the year. But I just don't think so. The Shelby got a lot of weapons. We got Tamar Mitchell back tonight, so he did one. I hope you got it on tape. He did one run, like 6 players hit him. He spun off and turned around and went in for a touchdown.
That was in the third quarter. I was walking out of the stadium as he made that run. He spun off one guy and he stiffed on another, and it wasn't really a stiff on him. He just kind of chucked him to the ground, and there was no hope after that. The guy, he's amazing. He's amazing. The stuff he do with his feet and how he runs the balls.
And a lot of people think he's going to run out of bounds, but right when you think he's going to run out of bounds, he'll stop and cut back. And that throws a lot of people out, too.
Yeah.
So, in the offensive line, they did okay. I got the fuss at them. They didn't do that great because Isaiah got sacked a couple of times. But overall, we're 2-0 in the conference, and that's where you need to be at this time of year.
Well, speaking of Shelby and the line, Steve, we're keeping it a little bit shorter tonight. I want you to be sure and tell us how the Shelby Middle School Blue Devils did this week.
We played Chase too, and we beat them 50-0. Well, excuse me, 50-6. They scored on the last play of the game.
Yeah.
So that sets a showdown up Wednesday between Shelby Middle School Blue Devils and the Dragons from Crest at Black Memorial Stadium at 5 o'clock Wednesday. So if your people have nothing to do, come out and watch a good middle school football game. Both teams play hard and well coached, and that'll be for the number 1 seed in the west part of the middle school. And Kings Mountain and Burns is the number 1 and number 2 seed in the west.
Well, that sounds familiar, Steve. Crest and Shelby and Burns and Kings Mountain. Sounds like there's some future Cleveland County football stars warming up there.
You know, like I said, if you get the number 1 seed, only thing you get to play at home. So that's what we're fighting for. Trying to get our young men ready for Wednesday, and just hope everything come out right. And next week I will talk to y'all about getting ready to go to the playoffs.
Well, I'll talk to the athletic director over at Crest Middle School and see if we can get you a good seat for that one.
No comment.
You're a smart man, Steve.
Well, Steve, I just want to add, tonight was homecoming night at Shelby High, and the daughter of Steve Houston and Tamika Harperson, which is Tamika Harperson Houston now.
Yeah.
Jay Houston won homecoming. So
Right.
big Crest connection there. I went to school with both of them. Me and Steve graduated together. The dad and Tamika came in a couple years after.
I can top that. It was homecoming at Crest tonight, and a couple of the parents of the kids that were in the contest were former students of mine. Elliot Hargrave's daughter, and Farrah Duncan's daughter, were in the homecoming tonight.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, when Trey calls in, he's going to tell us who the homecoming queen is. So I won't steal his thunder. Trey, you be sure and call in and tell us about the homecoming queen. I promised you that one.
And the ironic thing about that, gentleman, is she sang the national anthem up in the press box in her outfit. This should turn around one homecoming queen.
Yeah.
That's unique.
There you go. You just can't hide talent. That's what the golden line
She can sing. Yeah.
do.
You can
Steve,
sing.
thank you for your call, and call in next week. And if we don't hear from you, we'll know the streak has been broken.
I doubt that.
I doubt it
think
too.
it's safe, brother.
Hey,
I think
Steve
it's safe.
Greer on the line.
All right,
Shelby
thank you,
Golden
brother.
Lines. Folks, we want to get some callers from our Lincoln County area. If you went to one of these great games, Lincoln
Yeah.
County, East Lincoln Mustangs, Lincoln Wolves. Mustangs win 10-7 over the Wolves tonight in a back
We
and
have
forth
a
game
caller
late.
that's going to call in later. Will?
Okay.
Coach Ludwig's from
All right.
the East Lincoln
Mustangs coach Lucas
Mustangs.
will
He's
give us
gonna
a call. Great.
around
He'll be
10:45.
excited about that game. Give us a call. Someone from Vail.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear Coach Sane if he's listening around. Tom Sane, give us a call. The mayor, give us a call. He gave us the award for best in the parade one year for best float or car or whatever it was.
Were
the
you in
pink
Large
Cadillac.
Marge or
yeah,
what?
yeah, that's what we were in.
Oh, right.
I can't remember who. Randy
Pink
Davis
Cadillac.
was
Was it
driving.
large marge or
Pink
extra large?
Well, that one's extra large,
large
Marge.
Marge.
We've had two large Marges.
Yeah.
One was the actual convertible, but
Yeah.
now that's the extra
That's
large.
the
It was
extra
an
large.
L
That
Marge.
that's the
Right.
no. The award-winning extra large
Large
Marge.
Marge.
You
The
gotta get it right.
award-winning?
The Cat Square award-winning, parade-winning from Tom
The
Sane.
award-winning extra large
Right.
Marge. I think we dated her one time.
Hey,
Will.
you know what the vote was? Wow, I don't tell you about
I
that.
know I dated extra large marge at one time.
You know what
no,
the
that was Andre. She was with.
The
I'm
vote in that
sorry.
parade for us to win was 1-0.
1-0.
Tom Saint was
Unanimous,
the deciding
huh?
vote. Tom was the deciding, yeah. Well, let's look. There it is. There's the parade.
Speaking of
Show it
which,
to
we
the-
got
Of which-
show it
put
to
that in front of the
camera.
camera,
Show it to
Cal.
that camera. There's our Cat Square Parade Championship.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Mayor's Award from
Extra large
18,
Marge.
extra large.
Who was
Award.
chauffeuring that day, Calvin or
Randy
you?
Davis at Davis Brothers Automotive. out
Okay,
there in,
Randy.
Lincoln. Give
A
Randy
little beach
call.
music guy.
The beach music guy, 2 to 6 on Mondays. Randy comes in, does a great job on that. Yeah, so the award-winning large Marge. Extra
Not
large
only could
one.
he drive it, he could probably tune it up for you.
He could. He
Change the
definitely
oil?
could. Yep. So somebody in Vail give us a call on that big win night. They had a big parade today. They got a kind of a unique parade. for homecoming. They drive tractors around the track. They're
Ooh.
homecoming.
Is this
during
West
the
Lincoln?
school hours? Yeah, West Lincoln. So
That's very
it's
fitting.
very interesting. You know, everybody's
Yeah.
got their own little things. You know, Cherryville's got the girls in the wedding dresses, and other schools got their. I can't remember which school in the mountains we played one year. You know, they were stomping us. You know, Cherryville. They came in on Harley Davidsons, and so it was loud. You know, yeah. So we probably knew we were done when they came in on that one. So anyway, we do got some more scores to give you folks. We'll take a break here in a few minutes. Scores tonight: Cleveland County halftime score 153 to nothing. What about that, Joel? 153 to nothing. Final
Joel.
scores tonight: Lions 51 to nothing, Crest 48 to nothing, Kings Mountain 70 to nothing. So there's 169 to nothing right there. The Bulldogs ruin the night and get scored on.
Yeah.
41 to 6. The Trojans
Tighten that defense
I know,
up.
tighten it up
Bulldogs.
out there. 41 to 6. We were there at Keyone Pryor, folks. I just can't say enough about it. Even if you can't get out to Burns to watch him on our shows.
Well, you got
He's just fun. You can watch him on the TV. It's
you
just
can
fun
watch
to
him
watch
on
that.
TV, but you have got to see
person.
this kid in person.
Hell, it's
And you say you
got
had
to see
4
him in
called
person.
back.
4 to 7. I can't remember the exact number. There were flags everywhere. Tom was losing mind the flags. My cousin was sitting in the stands actually, so he was not even on the broadcast texting me like this touchdown called back or this touchdown. I had a punt return called back for a touchdown. So it was. I think with about 30-40 seconds left in the first half, maybe a minute, Tom and Hunter were discussing what they should do, if they should pass it or whatever, or keep trying to score. And Hunter's like, no, you just let the players play. And the next play, they gave it to Keyone, and it was just he was out. And then, of course, the flag came out. So then it took like four plays to score instead of one. Kings Mountain tonight went up 14 to nothing on 2 pass plays, right? Two plays, 2 passes.
What
2
took you so long?
Penalties.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. Them personal fouls were killing us. It's unbelievable. But I just want to say, Steve, I'm gonna miss shaking your hand when I came in through the radio station on Friday nights, and I just want to send my good donuts to his family.
Excuse me. I want to say a cool little nugget about radio waves. Little educational thing for some of you folks here real quick. Might not know. The way radio waves work, they pretty much kind of go on forever. And, if it leaves the planet, whatever you believe in, whether it's alien life, God, or whatever that's out there that is listening, they can hear that signal forever. So at any point this human race decides to leave the planet, they could accidentally run into this very broadcast at some point on their radio in their spaceship.
Well, what you're saying
Science
is if we got in our rocket ship and we headed to Mars,
Right.
that we could turn on the radio and listen to ourselves.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's cool.
So, and what's cool about that also is what I meant by that is that even though Steve isn't with us right now,
he's still on the air.
at some point somewhere in the physical universe, that signal, where all those signals that you just heard him on the radio, someone somewhere, some alien somewhere, some chameleon or whatever on some planet is listening to
some
Steve
guy on
introduce the
Pluto's out there
Renaldo
said,
Automotive
hey,
show.
listen to the Renaldo post-game show.
Now that's what the scientists say. That might not be true. So I don't know. So whatever.
Well, you went to Appalachian,
That's
you
my,
should
my nugget of the day. If I could be right on that. So if I'm not, oh well, it's nice to say.
Yeah, I just.
But we do miss him. It was so just so. I think what
we
y'all-
missed him all year, all this season.
And what people didn't get to see is every time he stopped by the station, they stopped by a lot to see us going back and forth for treatments and everything. And we go out and see him in the car and talk to him and everything. He'd come in every now and then. But every time he was like, I want to get back in. He wanted to get back in the air behind that mic. He didn't like it. Whoever's behind that seat, he didn't like it. Whether it's me, Dad, JP, or whoever.
Yeah, that's his seat.
That's
Well, I
Steve's
sat
seat.
with him at the Christmas party. And
Right.
one thing about working here, Joel, they give a great Christmas party, and Steve was able to be there, and he was just, you could just tell, I'm missing this so much, being around my friends, being around the people. And here's the other side of that. The people miss Steve. Everybody was coming by. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Good to see you, buddy. So
Yeah, it's just.
you'll be missed, Steve.
Yeah, last time I saw him, I called him out in Shelby, and he knew who I was, and he said, and it was about 6-7 months ago, and that was the last time I got to see him.
Also, my children and everybody, and Andre's son as well as I, they loved him to death. The only one Steve didn't get along with was my dog. He didn't like my dog. He got bit one time, but when he was little, so he didn't get along with. He just Kevin Donald wanted him near me, and I said, all right, I put him down the hall. But that other than that, he said he wanted to deal with it. I was like, that's totally cool. Even though my dog wouldn't hurt anybody, but Crest fan over here.
Well, Steve, fun facts. You know, he used to, at one time when he first came into the area, he stayed with Dan Greer, and Dan had a place that he rented to him. And you know, it's just the connection. People don't understand here at KTC. It's like family. You know, Calvin's grandpa, but you know, it's all connected, and they all care about one another, and we treat one another like brothers. And that's the part you can't see on the radio. But trust me, Steve was a brother that will be missed by all of us.
With that said, say some nice things to our announcers, folks, on the broadcast. Some of you are awful mean to our announcers.
Hey, we got a caller.
We laugh and think it's funny when y'all say
got a caller?
We got a caller.
Who we got?
All right, here we go, caller. Wait a minute. This board op is not too good. We need Steve back. We need Steve back. Here you go, caller. Try it again.
Who we got there?
Is Jeff Miller?
77-point back and forth game down in Ashbrook. Was you at that game tonight?
Yes, sir.
Well, tell us all about them Jaguars pulling out the victory on the road over the Green Wave.
Well, you know, that's the first time they've done that since 2001. That's the first time they've beaten Ashbrook at Ashbrook since 2001.
Wow.
You said that last week when you called in that they had had been a while since they beat them there, and now we can't tell that story no more. So, what was the key points in this game?
The running game of both teams. You did not see a lot of passing by either team. No, it was hard running by Jamarian Dawkins and Kamari Reed for Forest View, and then Kendall Massey, and then I'm trying to say Jakeem Bond for Ashbrook. And they had, you know, different runners, and Omarion Boyce. Those are three runners for Ashbrook that really gave Forest View's defense all sorts of trouble, and the quarterback Chandler Meeks. Forest View went up 14-0, and then Ashbrook, finally got on the board. You know, after they were done shooting themselves in the foot early with penalties. You know, with Omarion Boyce touchdown run, and then Jamarian Dawkins made it 21-7, and then a long touchdown run by Bond made it 21-13. PAT was missed. But then Ashbrook would stop Forest View on their first drive in the second half after Forest View missed a field goal, and Massey made it 21-19, and then Meeks' two-point conversion run tied it. And it was back and forth right then with Kamari Reed making it 28-21, and then Bond again tying it at 28, and then Dawkins with a 7-yard run making it 35-28, and then Bond once again tying it up at 35, and that was with 5.5 left to go. And then I was telling somebody in the press box that if I'm Forest View, I try and melt as much clock as I can, and they did it. They scored with like less than 40 seconds to go in the game with a 2-yard run by Jamarian Dawkins, and Ashbrook just had very little time to respond.
Sounds like a good plan. Who have you got next week, Jeff?
Forest View has got North Gaston next week.
Well, I can see 2 in a row for the Jaguars.
I saw that it was 70-0 Kings Mountain at some point.
Oh,
well, you have to
that's the
take
final
that up
score.
Take that up with Joel over here.
Yeah, It was
What was the final?
70 to nothing.
Man, did they call off their dogs in that game?
Yeah, Jeff, they had 56 at halftime, so yes, they did call off the dogs. Real quick, the stat of the night, I don't know if you heard. Did you hear the Cleveland County halftime scores over all their teams?
I heard Crest 35-0 over Stuart Kramer.
How about this? Combined, the 4 Cleveland County teams tonight at halftime were up 153 to nothing. They
Crest
won
halftime
210 to 6.
Wow.
So big night in Cleveland County tonight.
What was the Crest final and the Shelby final?
48-0 Crest, 51-0 Shelby.
And how much did Burns beat Chase by?
Burns gave up the most tonight. The defense was leaky with 6 points. They had 41 total.
Welcome to the Southwestern 2A, Chase.
There you go.
And Burns to the Southwestern 2A too as well, right? Yeah. Well, Jeff, Forest View, how do you think they're going to compete here in this 3A? Is it getting tight below Kings Mountain? Tell us about this Husk Kings Mountain game next week. Give us a little quick preview of what you think we're going to see. I've heard a lot of talk out of Husk that they feel like they're about to beat Kings Mountain.
Well, Husk has gotten better since they got that transfer from Charlotte Catholic, Lamage McDowell. I think he has opened it up for the other players, but I am not ready to give Hunter Husk the victory over Kings Mountain. I got to see that game for myself next week.
Well, I started to say, Jeff, why don't you go to that one and then give us a report? I think you're going to be okay with the Forest View Jaguars next week, so go over and check out that other game for us.
Yeah, I think Forest View, I don't want to get their heads too big, but I think they probably got that one, and then after that they got Catawba Ridge the following week.
Okay, a streak.
But Catawba Ridge is very disciplined, though. I mean, I don't know if they're going to beat Forest View, but Coach had them playing very disciplined when I saw them against Stuart Kramer.
Well, Catholic could have used that running back tonight. Jeff, did you see the score?
It was 10-0 Weddington at some point. Well,
how about 56-0, right, Joel? Wasn't it for 55? It's 55 or 56-0.
The one score I got was 45 nothing.
Or 45-0. It was a whole lot to nothing. How about that? Gosh,
Wait a minute.
we'll get that right and give out exactly.
I thought
a minute.
Catholic was supposed to be the big bad.
Maybe they're not the bee's knees this year.
Oh well.
Recruiting didn't go so well for Catholic.
They got to expand that 25-mile district line they've got.
Well, I mean, sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not. And I guess this year they're not. But who knows? I mean, Weddington's a very good team. Let's not take away anything from them. They're the defending state champs, aren't they?
But so is Catholic. You had the big A and the little A state champions playing each other tonight.
I mean, I gave Weddington the edge when I talked with Dale on our Facebook Live cam the other night. I gave Weddington the edge, but looks like I needed to give them more than the edge. Just give them the whole daggum game.
Well, the one thing we got to remember, too, Joel, we're talking about, the situation where you got the big 3A and the little 3A state champs playing one another. But the thing of it is, that's last year's team. That's not this year's team. And as you know, things change from year to year.
Oh, yep. I've seen it before. Plenty of times. I mean, happened to Harding after they won the state title.
Yeah.
And now it looks like Harding's back.
Well, there you go.
Well, Jeff, what's going on your website this week?
CarolinaVarsity.com. Well, I think Anthony, I believe he covered the South Point East Gaston game. I covered the Forest U Ashburn game. That was probably the best game in the area. I mean, not trying to be biased or anything, but competitive game. And then we got somebody covering the South Mech Olympic game tonight. I saw a couple of highlights from that. But I'm going to have the article of this game on either late tonight or or sometime tomorrow. And hopefully everybody tunes in and hope they enjoy the material. We have a bunch of talented writers, photographers, and videographers on the site.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for giving us a call on Friday and give us an update, bub.
Yes, sir. And you want me to keep you updated on the Huss and Kings Mountain game? Should I go next week?
Well, yeah. I'll probably be down there. I might see you down there, but I think I might go help them get set up and see a little bit of that game before.
Bring me a cheeseburger.
Bring you a cheeseburger.
cheeseburger.
Why would I need to bring you that? We got plenty of sagebrush here on Friday nights. I want to thank our post-game sponsor, as always, Renaldo Automall.
How did West Lincoln do tonight?
They won.
Yeah. How about them Rebels?
28-27, predicted by Terry Reinhardt. Exact score in the pregame show is what I was told.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
Awesome
I think it was Terry missed the extra point. I think that's what I heard him say. He went down the hall somewhere.
Terry.
When Terry don't come out of the hall when you ask a question out loud, that means he's down there eating the sagebrush. You know exactly. Well, if we don't get
Will said leave that broccoli alone. He's taking it home.
Broccoli alone.
Baden missed the extra point. So Jeff, thanks for giving us a call and everything, bub, and every week, bub.
Yes, sir. Thank you all very much. Y'all have a good week.
Have a good one, Jeff.
All right.
Is it time for a break? We got another call.
Nah, I'll tell you what, we got another caller right quick. All right, here we go.
Who we got tonight now?
This is Coach Lubowitz from East Lincoln High School.
Oh,
What's
Will,
going on, Coach Lewick? How
Hey.
you doing? Will Borkins. I've been trying to get you to call in for the last couple of weeks. Y'all ran into a barn burn. I'm telling you what, that South Fork 2-way is every week you go out, you're going to have to play ball, aren't you?
Yeah, at this point, it's anybody's league. You know, we got another big one next week, but we knew off of film that Lincoln was going to hit, and man, they hit. It was something. It was a fun game to be a part of.
Coach Lewis, I got a question. Kevin Hastings here. Good to talk to you. I like listening to you guys on Wednesday. You guys are fun to listen to when you call in and come to the show. In the past few years, here's my question about your guys' conference. In the past, let's say roughly 3 to 7 years, this conference has kind of been Big 12-ish, where it's who can score the most points. And then all of a sudden this year, across the board, it's defense across the board. The top 5 teams just shutting it down. You guys 10-7 tonight in a defensive struggle as well against the Wolves.
Yeah, I think that, probably I guess about 4 or 5 years ago, the conference had a lot of big-time offensive superstars. You had the Surratts, and Lincoln had all those kids that went out and played big-time football. So I think you had the Little John.
And Caleb Farley at Maiden.
That's right. Yeah, Caleb Farley. I mean, you just had all these explosive game changers. Yeah, and I think now you kind of are settling into I think we're playing a lot better team defense. But I think some of the offenses are losing that. That star guy. But, I'll tell you what, I had a lot of fun tonight. This was a fun game. I'll take this every night.
Dude, so the nail-biting, it was a hot October night. Wasn't used to that as well. I was down in Kings Mountain tonight. So the nail-biting 10-7 game, you quite enjoyed it on the sideline tonight.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is why you coach, and this is why you get kids to come out and play football. There was not a frown on our sideline when we scored that last touchdown to go ahead. It just makes you, you work all week long, and then this, the little things happen like that, and you get a break. We blocked a punt. We blocked a punt there with about, 5 minutes left, and then we scored on the next play, and that put us up. And, our sidelines, our fans, the cheerleaders, everybody's going crazy. That's what high school football is all about.
Coach, this is Dennis Davis. I've got a question for you. As an old coach, I'm interested. In the heat in October, how do you keep your guys hydrated, keep them, hold down on the cramping? Does it affect your practices? How does it affect your game plan and your strategy?
Yeah, it's tough. Thankfully, we have a trainer here every day, and she's constantly talking to the kids about, staying away from sodas and the cheese and all that stuff. And then we had to practice inside on Thursday, so our walkthrough day, the county said nobody can be outside, so we had to go inside. On Wednesday, we were limited to helmets. It was a tough week with the heat this late. You don't expect it. So it's a tough situation. It is a tough situation.
Does it affect the players in tonight's game, for example? Did you see any increase in the cramping? Did you rotate your players in and out more?
Yeah, we try and do as much as we can. playing kids on one side of the ball. But, I mean, we had linemen cramping. They had linemen cramping. They had 3 or 4 kids cramping the last couple of series, and they really ran out of offensive players because their second quarterback got hurt after the first one did, and then they had cramps, and we had cramps. Yeah, there was a lot of it. So I'm assuming the Kings Mountain game probably the same thing.
Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, Coach, this is Terry Reinhardt, and I'm from West Lincoln. And I know you got a game coming up in the future, and it looks like we always talk to South Fork Athletic two-way is going to be stout every weekend. But I know on 11-1 you'll have West Lincoln coming down that way, and my whole deal in behind that, I think they're going to transfer meet down there, and I'm going to suspend about 40 of your kids for that game.
Not that he's biased or anything.
I mean, I just thought I'd help you out.
Well, I appreciate that. That's very nice. Yeah, listen, and I'm not going to be the guy that's going to look ahead, and I definitely can't look ahead to the past the North Lincoln game this week. But I watched the film, I heard about the North Lincoln West Lincoln game, and those West Lincoln boys are hitting. I actually saw West Lincoln early in the year play drawn, and I'm going to tell you what, that is a physical. We played a physical group tonight, but that is another physical group that we're going to have to play there in a couple weeks.
Well, Terry, you got any more news and notes on the South Fork? You want to say anything about the defense, how it switched so much?
Well,
in the last few
Coach,
years?
you're the one that's seeing it firsthand. I mean, I think the defense in the South Fork, amongst all the teams, I mean, you might have to put out Lake Norman Charter right now, but as far as everybody else, I mean, when you go to play, you got to come with a decent A game on offense, but your defense, every defense is starting to play pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about our defense, but just from what we've seen on film out of the other ones and what I saw live with West Lincoln, every D-line and every linebacker, they just fly around. Every team has just got this front seven that just flies around, and it's tough when you're calling plays to try and account for, backside pressure or slip-throughs and down blocks not happening because the kids just get after it. Week after week, they get after it.
Coach, I'm going to tell you what, we're proud of you calling in on Wednesday. I know Will and them is, they get to speak to you a lot. I don't get to speak to you much, but you're doing a great job down there, and we're glad to have you in the league, and we're glad to have your knowledge that come with it.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate everything you guys are doing for high school sports. We love it. Everybody I talk to loves what you guys are doing, so thank you so much for that.
Well, thank you, Coach Lou Woods, from me. Like I said, like Terry just said, calling in on Wednesday, keeping Will and Tim and Kim as straight as possible, and the back and forth between what I like about that show when you guys talk is hearing you talk with other coaches in the conference, and a lot of places you don't get that, and it's fun hearing the banter between you guys as well, and I do enjoy that. And I want to thank you for making us better, actually, KTC.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the personalities, the coaches' personalities, are big personalities. Will Byrne and Coach Basil, they're great guys to talk to. So you might as well have some fun with them, right?
Yeah, right. Will and I are the same age. We played basketball, golf, and football against each other, and then we went to Appalachian together. So I know Will pretty well. I also know.
Oh, okay.
I also know
he had
Mr.
a tough one tonight, huh?
Yeah, they got beat over in West tonight, and then I know. And then I also went to college up there with Will, Brandon Harbison, athletic director up at Bandy. So,
oh, absolutely.
So I know those guys pretty well just from college, and I actually played against them in high school. I knew Will actually playing against him. I didn't know Brandon playing against him, but I did know Will back then. But you guys, it's going to be fun watching this conference. The season's winding down. It's almost over, Coach. 5 games left.
I know. I'm excited, though, because now we get into, when you play those 4 out-of-conference games at the beginning, and we started the year with a bye, it's like you just want it to start. But now that it started, it's like, damn, it's almost over. Or dang, it's almost over.
And to quote Coach Mara, playoffs. Playoffs.
Well, this conference, you've got the meet coming up here. I mean, the top 5 or 6, if you close your eyes and ask anybody on the street today, they might pick any one of these teams, East, North, Bandy's, Maiden, West, and Newton Carver right now. All of them kind of rotating around. Bandy's maybe down this year, but the rest of you guys, like I said, playing good defense in anybody's ball game. And I want to wish you guys good luck. The next 5 weeks are going to be absolutely interesting.
Yeah, we're excited about it, and I think the whole league's excited. And I think we'll get a little name out there, too, so get a little respect for our conference.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, man.
Have a good Friday night, good weekend.
All right, bye-bye.
Big County win. East Lincoln beats the Wolves 10-7 in a defensive struggle. Like I said, give us a call out in the Vail area.
That
We'll talk
would
about
have
some
been
Rebels and Blue Devils. Go ahead.
That would have been a game to watch him and Coach Glass go toe to toe.
I'm impressed by the defenses across the board on the top half of that conference.
Well, let me say this, fellas. This may not be the last time that some of these teams see one another, because like we were saying about playoffs,
right?
You may end up with a matchup
In
similar
conference.
to these games again.
Which one of these would you not want to buy tickets for, Will? How about East at North?
Yeah.
East versus Bandies. East at Maiden. West Lincoln at East Lincoln, and East Lincoln at Newton Conover.
I wouldn't want to buy tickets to the East at Bandit.
That's the only one.
That's the only one.
So you're down on the Trojans this year.
I wouldn't want to buy tickets to any of them because I got this North Carolina high school.
It's so cheap, right? but like just those matchups, looking on paper, they should be excited in Denver every one of those games for those matchups.
Yeah.
Right?
The East North game is going to be good, though. The East West game, and I know I don't want to look ahead.
Terry's looking ahead.
Oh my goodness, is that going to be a good ball game?
Next week, East and North. If you're watching online, folks, so for you folks listening on the radio, you can watch online on YouTube every Friday night. Just search Renaldo Automall postgame show. Go to KTC Broadcast on the KTC Broadcasting channel. You can come see us anytime during the show. You can also comment on there if you want. There's a chat on there if anybody wants to ask us questions. We'll try to keep up if we can. Give us a call. For you folks in Vail that do want to call and tell us about those Rebels tonight, 704-435-2844, 704-435-2846, either one of them, 2846 or 2844. Jason Sane just walked in. He did the play-by-play for the Kings Mountain tonight. He's eating some sagebrush right now. We got chicken and broccoli tonight, didn't we, boys?
Boy, I'm trying to tell you, that broccoli.
And Jason is a West Lincoln grad, so he's got some celebrating to do.
Did you ever
tonight
used
about
to
the
watch The Little Rascals?
Yes, absolutely.
Uncle George
That's
wheeling
the
that
best-
broccoli back there.
that's-
Yum, yum, eat 'em up.
That might be the best episode of TV history before 19 whatever it was.
The big upset's the Hickory game, huh?
Hickory beats Freedom 23-22.
Somebody asked me about how is Freedom doing after they played Crest, and I said, well, they're winning. They won last week.
Obviously not winning.
But they play Hickory tonight. I don't know, somebody from Hickory or Freedom, give us a call and let us know.
Well, I was listening to the pregame show, and they was talking about they're going through the road, and then they was wondering what Hickory's been kind of down. Next thing you know, I'm looking at the score. Hickory wins.
Hickory wins big night. What you got, Calvin?
I got a caller on here. I believe it's Mr. Bobby. Bobby, go ahead.
What about them Shelby Golden Lions?
Yeah, Bobby, I know you can count on them Lions. Y'all squeaked by tonight. What was it, a 51-0?
That's right.
Yeah.
I was so proud of my boys tonight. It just seemed like they wanted to pull things together, and that's just what they did tonight at Blanton Stadium. One thing I liked is that the offense, they really moved the ball, and the defense really stopped our rest, and they did it when they had to, and just played real good football on both ends of the football tonight.
Well, Bobby, your Lions have come back strong. The Hilltoppers are a traditional foe that you do well against, but 51-0, that tells me that the Lions are playing some pretty good football right now. I know that you guys were hurting on that Kings Mountain game, but let's face it, that's a non-conference game for you guys. And we preach here, it's the conference games that really matter, because that's what sets up your post-conference seeding, is your record in the conference and how you do there. I think the Golden Lions have one more obstacle down the road in the Burns Bulldogs, but we'll put that down the road a little bit. You guys have got Chase next week, and if my memory serves me correctly, Bobby, you guys have always done pretty good against them there Trojans, and Burns took care of them tonight 41-6, so I imagine you'll be calling in next week and telling me how well those Shelby Golden Lions play.
Well, you know, one thing I like, I was talking with one of the coaches, and I was asking them, what do you think we should do to maybe keep the season going like we're going right now, since we're on another winning streak. And that one thing is we got to move the football up the field and score, and put the pressure on other teams. I think that's one of the things that's going to help us against Chase next week, and hopefully it'll happen against Burns as well.
Well, Bobby, I thank you for calling us every week. 51-0 this week. We've got to get to a break. Calvin and more callers. We got top 10 coming up, and we got to get some more scores. Give us a call next week on the Chase game.
Oh yeah, I will definitely be there. I'm gonna try to be there, and hopefully I've been pretty busy here lately, but nevertheless, I'm just glad that Shelby won nothing again tonight.
All right, thank you, Bobby. All right, East Lincoln 10-7 over Lincoln, and Crest Chargers 48-0 over Kramer. Shelby 51-0 over RS Central. Cherryville Falls 26-14 to the Cherryville Ironman. Kings Mountain 70-0 over North Gaston. 41-6 Bulldogs up in Lawndale over the Chase Trojans. 54-0 Southwind over East Gaston. Polk County 35-19 over East Rutherford. Newton 36-13 over Bandies. Bessemer City 36-16 over Highland. Pine Lake Prep falls big time to Thomas Jefferson. That's the most points. That's more points tonight than Thomas Jefferson's given up all year. They give up 16 tonight to Pine Lake Prep. 70 for Thomas Jefferson. Hickory with a big win tonight over Freedom. For Hickory tonight, Joel, that makes them 2-5, Joel. 2-0 in the conference. You were asking about that. Statesville Christian 35-6 over Christ the King. North Lincoln 63-0 over Lake Norman Charter. West Lincoln 28-7 over the Maiden Blue Devils. Ashbrook Falls in a barn burner out there in Gastonia 42-35. Forest View wins in Ashbrook. First time since 2001. Is that what Jeff said?
Yeah,
right.
2001.
McDowell falls 28-7 to St. Stephen's. Watauga 42-10 over Alexander Central. Mountain 9 Charter 50-0 over Union Academy. Drone 44-6 over Patton. High Brighton 52-0 over West Caldwell. Bunker Hill 16-14 over Ford. They've got a couple wins on the season tonight, boys. And of course, coming up next, Jason Saints in the house.
Over Bandies, too.
Yeah, beat Bandies and Ford already. So Jason Saints will come in for just a minute. Not much to break down the 70-0 game. He's going to tell us who the big stats for the night was in our MVPs, and that's about it, Jason. I'm sure there's not much to break down on that. Jason, give you quick stats for you. Cleveland County at halftime tonight was up 153-0. They won 210-6. I think we're 200.
Got to shore up that Bulldog defense.
210-6. Bulldogs just leaky up there, Jason. Just giving up
y'all
6.
Y'all should have heard Tom on the radio when they gave up 6 points.
Did it ruin Tom's day if they gave up 6?
And breaking news, Terry's got a score for us before we go to
Terry
break.
might not be up here. All the scores are also 4. Are you going to put up the Weddington score? What you got, Terry? Nothing now. What you got, Terry?
I'll put up that Weddington score.
Oh, my gosh. He is such a 12-year-old girl sometimes. Him and
Ready
Andre.
for a break?
So, yeah, we got to go to a break. Him and Andre sitting here tonight. I put up 2 TVs, and I come in, and Dennis and Dad's in there watching baseball, and Terry and Andre's in the closet together instead of in the big room.
Did you
watching
say
the
they
TVs.
came out of the closet?
I just told you where they were. That's
okay.
the exact words I could use. I mean, lawyer speak here. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. Time to go to a break. Thank you for listening to the Renaldo Automall postgame show on KTCBroadcasting.com.
Who shops at Putnam Distributors in Patterson Springs? Professional mechanics, shade tree mechanics, do-it-yourselfers, farmers, truckers, and industries. And maybe you should too. They have a knowledgeable and friendly parts counter staff, and they're glad to help you out anytime. And best of all, Putnam's prices are low on everything for everybody. Give them a call at 704-487-9395. It's in the phone book, or visit them online at PutnamDistributors.com. Located in downtown Patterson Springs off Highway 180 South. Just look for the signs. The automobile rates have never been better than now at Reed Lindsay State Farm Insurance Agency in Shelby. If you're in the market for automobile insurance, now is the time to see Reed Lindsay State Farm Insurance. Their mission is to help people manage the risk of everyday life and help you recover from the unexpected and realize your dreams. You'll find a friendly staff that will work hard for you and your insurance needs. From auto to home to property to life insurance and more, see Reed Lindsay State Farm Insurance Agency, 1671 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, online at reedlindsay.com. Who are you? You're not a goat. Oh, you say you feel like a goat since you didn't buy your car from Renaldo Automall in Shelby. and now you're putting up with a bunch of bull. Don't be like my friend here. You get no bull at Renaldo Honda and Renaldo Kia at Renaldo Auto Mall in Shelby, 4423 East Dixon Boulevard. Don't let another dealer get your goat. The Roundup store in Shelby is now your brand new Festool dealer in this area. Festool brings you 90 years of perfection. With Festool, your tools are always in good hands. From drills to screwdrivers to dust extraction, also sawing, routers, and more. And all with a 3-year comprehensive warranty. Buy with confidence. Buy a Festool tool today. Now available at the Roundup store, Highway 74 Bypass, East End Shelby.
S&M Sports Shop is your dealer for Under Armour sports apparel in Cleveland County. Come by and see the selection of Under Armour shirts, shorts, shoes, socks, and sunglasses. S&M is also your team outfitter for all local schools in whatever sport you play. They have letter jackets for all local high schools. Plus, S&M is your headquarters for Oakley Sunglasses. For all your athletic needs, go to S&M Sports Shop. They're located at 707 South Lafayette Street in Shelby.
It's time to get ready for fall and settle in with comfort from Settle Heated and Air in Shelby. Listen up for a special offer this month for brand new customers. If you are a new customer at Settle Heated and Air, you get a 15% discount off your first service call. All you have to do is mention this radio ad. But hurry, offer ends October 31st. Again, mention this radio ad and get a 15% off new customer discount on your first service call from Settle Heated and Air. Online at settleinwithcomfort.com.
All right, that's fine. Well, I muted
Hey,
it.
JP.
I muted it in the corner a minute ago when I was on the internet because the website I was on was sitting here. It'll do a pop-up ad, so you just got to unmute it there down in the corner. It's okay. Welcome back to the Renaldo Auto Mall post-game show. I'm Kevin Hastings along with Joel Clemmer's in the house here to talk about for a minute, and Jason Sane.
Yep. MaxPreps.com
See, yeah, there it is.
subscribe.
Told you. 7, that's why I did that. I'll take care of it in a second. So Jason Sane's here, did the broadcast tonight for the Kings Mountain game. Jason, it was about as over before I got home from leaving the game, but at the start of the kickoff to my house at Kings Mountain, you guys 70-0. First 2 passes for touchdowns. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll talk a little West Lincoln football for a minute.
Well, as you said, first 2 passes went for touchdowns. I saw quite early that I was not going to be able to track the negative yardage from North Gaston, or that's what they would have ended with. They only had a play or 2 that went for positive yardage. Didn't recall them crossing midfield in the first half. And
so you think they might have negative total yards in the game?
No.
Just first half.
Of course, first half. After the first half, you didn't see any of the original starters. The thing is, Kings Mountain was so good that they preserved the shutout on through the third quarter. It was looking every bit as bad, but they put together a nice drive near the end of the fourth quarter. Got inside the red zone, even pushed it all the way down to the 8 and had a fresh set of downs. And about that time, Marquise Adams, who's a very capable backup running back, took an option pitch out of the running back's hands and took it 92 yards.
That's the dream
to the
defensive play. Take that pitch.
That was when, that's like, take the pitch, go ahead and jump it. You joke about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he didn't so much take the pitch out of the air; he took it out of the running back's hands.
Really?
But you've seen that before too, where he's holding the ball, then the defender's holding the ball, running the other way. Not a tackle, just a here, I'll take that kind of play.
Kings Mountain even win a jumbo set
Couldn't
there
catch
early.
him either, because like I said, he's a backup running back, and more than capable at that.
What about Raquelin Mack? He's back.
Yeah, he got in on the action as well, sprung about a 40-plus yarder within his first few touches, ended up having about 64 yards and a touchdown on, very few touches, just didn't need him.
I said hello to his mother down there before the game, and she was watching Juwan's kids down there, actually sitting in front of her. And so they were cheering on that. She said they're slowly working him back in, getting healthy. You don't really need him in a game like this.
Right, they were bringing him back slow.
They're okay without him tonight, right?
Oh, more than okay.
So playoffs is really what you're thinking about with Raquelin here, with coming off the injury and save him, use him when you need to. I'm sure they may see, Huss may see some of the Mac attack next week. Just the fact of him and the rest of the backfield, it's tough enough to try to tackle him, and then the other ones just come busting through that line of scrimmage as well, right?
Yes.
What about Paysar?
He caught 2 passes, touchdowns. I was going to say.
Other than that.
He didn't play any defense tonight, which
He did have one carry
does.
right out of the backfield for like.
Yes. Well, they were a kick return for a touchdown. Actually, two of those both called back on penalties, so neither one of those ended up on the board.
Like I said, them penalties are killing us.
Another thing, Ethan Reed, a really capable quarterback.
Joe, you won
gets
70-0. The penalties didn't kill you at all.
I was gonna say,
Terry, how bad
If we really buckle down.
See, Dennis, this is what you sound like some nights when you talk about Crest. Shelby fans, this is what you sound like. Joel, and penalties killed us tonight, 70-0.
Well, I'll correct it. We're the most penalized. We are the most penalized for personal fouls. I'll say that.
Tom would disagree with you on the penalties after tonight. Just listen to the flag fest up there. Q1 just
four touchdowns.
At least 4 to 7. We're guessing.
Okay.
Something like that.
Other thing I was going to say though, Ethan Reed went over 200 yards passing, but he only completed 7 passes, 6 different people, and 5 of them were touchdowns.
That's not
I
bad.
want to give
5 of the 7 were touchdowns.
I want to give props to Orlando Odoms. I think this was his first touchdown of the season. He caught a little 12-yard pass down the middle, and he made it look easy. But I just wanted to give the new kid props tonight.
Right, absolutely. Jason, you remember your defensive player of the game?
Day Wilson.
Day Wilson.
Who punched in a 1-yarder, but on defense, he was in the backfield so many times at the mesh point. But he got his first sack tonight as well. But we were looking at the stats at the keep. He had 47 tackles. Next closest was 31.
47 tackles.
And the next closest 31. Behind that was like a 21. So,
yeah.
And there were lots of 20s now. They do a good job defense. Ussery's particularly good. But yeah, Day Wilson's all over the place. Just a junior. He should be starting to get looks and ranked here before long if he isn't already.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's all over the field. He's making every play.
Well, Jason, you were last week down at West Lincoln for the game against North. This week you're down at Kings Mountain. Terry, give me a little update. Let's go over a little bit about what happened in the West Lincoln game tonight. How it ended up. 28-27 victory for the Rebels.
Yeah, it did. And I mean, anytime. I mean, when you sit back. I mean, we've struggled against Maiden. It's 38-8 now, for an all-time series. So, back-to-back wins for West Lincoln. They defeated them last year 31-18, and the game was not even as close as that. But this year, this game come down to the wire, and if it wasn't for Maiden missing an extra point, I mean, this game would have probably went into overtime or something now, But the last drive, I had to keep going back and forth. I don't know whether West Lincoln ever went for it on 4th down. I did not see it. I know they got the ball, and they wasted like the last 4 minutes just pushing the ball down the field, and they did what West Lincoln does. Run the ball, and when they did that, there was no passes coming out. But I'm giving West Lincoln a lot of props here lately. Last week, I mean, when y'all were there, Hunter and West Lincoln completed some passes. Mason Hewitt completed some passes down the field, and he's completed a few tonight down the field. So, they're starting to believe in him a little bit, and he's starting to hit the open receivers. So
scrambled a few times.
Yes, he can.
Well.
They Terry, the next few weeks they've got Newton Conover, Lincoln, and Bandy's, and at East Lincoln, and finish with Lake Norman Charter. They've already got 5 wins in a good position for the playoff to make the playoffs. Really, don't have to do too much more for the rest of the season, but you do want to get a better seed. But also, where are you guys on the attendance thing this year? The big little. Are you right on the line again? Is that what we're looking at, or
we
are
are
you
right
for sure
in that
somewhere
middle,
right now?
And right now, if it would come out, I would say West Lincoln would be low. But you know how that is. I mean, that's me saying something when everybody hadn't turned in all their numbers.
Right.
Yeah, get those ADM numbers
Yeah.
and location.
That's true.
To see, because somebody may shift from the west to the east.
And that's what happened to West, though. Explain how that happens, Dennis. There's no east-west line that we use.
Well,
it's a moving line, right?
I was never that good in calculus.
And it's crooked line too. It's a moving crooked line.
Yeah, here's the way that deal works. They come out with basically 32 teams.
Right.
And how they determine those 32 teams, the first thing they do is they actually take, your GPS setting. You got to put in the coordinates.
The easternest, westernest.
And where you are sometimes varies. Whiteville might be in the west one year.
Yes. Cherryville and Bessemer went down there.
And somebody like
first and second
Greensboro
round.
Dudley might be in the East this year, and they were in the West last year. So when they sit down, the great gurus at the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, where all the brains in the world are located, they look at the geographical location, and then they look at the ADM numbers, Terry. And this is what Terry's talking about, big or little.
Well, what's so hard about understanding it, Dennis, is that, okay, so how do you figure out who the playoffs are? Like you said, well, you got 32 2A teams. Then you put some in the East and some in the West. And
But
then
wait a minute,
you
Kevin,
go
before we
big
get
A
there,
and little A.
you got to look at the one-loss record. And then you got teams like, Terry, I listened to the pregame show, and y'all were talking about McDowell.
Yep.
You know, in South Caldwell, this game's important because there's only 2 4A teams in that conference.
Right.
And whoever wins is probably going to get the number 1 seed for the 4A team from that conference.
So what happened last year with West Lincoln, folks, if you don't know or don't remember, is that when the original brackets came out, they were in the Big 2A, right, Terry?
Yes.
And they were actually, you gotta get this, folks, they were in the Big 2A, and they had a home game. A home game,
Yep.
West Lincoln. They redo the brackets with the fuzzy. Y'all think my math is fuzzy on the power polls. It always comes out right. This is crazy. So that comes out, they get an away game, and not only is it an away game, folks, it's at Shelby.
Yeah, not like lucky West
Not
Lincoln.
at Bandy's or one of these other 2A. Just nothing against Bandy's or any of the other ones. What I'm saying is that you go from a home game based on the GPS signal to a away game at Shelby. That's two completely different ball games. And you know, West looking to get into the win column in the postseason, Terry, and that Tom Sainz last year.
Oh,
you know,
and
it's
you
kind of
was
heartbreaking and bad for. I feel bad for you guys from last
I thought
year.
it was wrong. I said when I seen it got switched, I
Yeah, they
said
got robbed last
that
year.
was wrong.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things you're talking about. 2 or 3 kids made a difference, you know. And I mean, I could have sent some home, and we could have got rid of them or something. But you know, I mean, that's how it goes. I mean,
He's already trying to get rid of East Lincoln. Terry's going to make East Lincoln a 1A before they get.
Have you
See
got
down
a
our
hit list of
next
those
couple
40
weeks,
kids over at East Lincoln
Yeah.
you want to?
But I mean, you know, it's and when we're talking about boundaries, when you go to 2A, you always look towards Reidsville and you look for Red Springs because they can be either side.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Would
and
you like the conferences or them to be predetermined before the season even starts, and
I
then
do
take
not.
the 32 teams?
I do not.
I
You
never
like the
did
moving
like
You like
that.
the moving lines?
Yes, I never did like that. I mean, I don't like it when you come in, if you finish 4th, you're playing number 1 over here out of this conference. I would not mind it if a conference is rotated, but it used to be, well, this conference always played this conference, and it was year after year after year, you know, and I never did like that.
But Terry, when we look at this too, you think back over the last few years, getting to the state championship game from the Western bracket sometimes is a lot more difficult than getting to the state championship game from the Eastern bracket. How do we bring some parity into that without moving some of these teams? Because if you take the best teams in the East and the best teams in the West, you may be playing a much more difficult, like we were talking about this conference tonight with Coach, and you know, you've got all those teams that are so tightly bunched. Then you go down east somewhere and you got a bunch of yahoos, you know, with a 4-7 record, and they're the conference champions.
Well, Jason, real quick before you go, Cinephoni's on the line. How do you feel about your Rebels here with the next few weeks with Newton Conover, Lincoln and Bandy's, East Lincoln, and Lake Norman Charter, and going to the playoffs? Just hope you don't have to go to Shelby first round.
Of course. Yep. I was thinking at the beginning of the season, came so close last year, I was feeling like they're probably going to get their first playoff win this year. They've got to get in first, though. Of course, can't win one if you ain't in it. You know,
No, we'd love to. I love
a
it.
long road to host.
We'd
Just
love to
maybe
see
the
me.
Cards. About time for the Cards to follow their way. You know, you
Right.
get in a few years in a row, you're bound to eventually to get that notch. You know, or get that monkey off your back. If you would.
We would have loved for Coach Sain to have gotten that. The mayor last year.
I don't think there's anybody that pulls for West Lincoln, or some half the people that don't pull for West Lincoln were disappointed to see
Right.
that. It was like,
I was disappointed.
Right. And so Coach Ponder this year, his first year, may have a chance to pull it off for you guys. So good luck to the Rebels. Thanks for stopping by, Jason. Thanks for doing the Kings Mountain game. Jason will be down at Kings Mountain at Huss next week for that big game. Jeff Miller told us a little about that. Maybe one of the biggest games in the state next week, Jason will have here on KTC.
There you go.
All right, we've got Tom Sinafani on the line. Jason, like I said, thanks for stopping by. Fill up on Sagebrush while you're here. Coach, Mr. Sinafani, big win tonight for the Bulldogs. Now,
hey,
I don't know if you've been listening, but you guys ruined the shutout tonight in Cleveland County.
Yeah, everybody else shut them out, huh?
Yeah, 210 to 6. You guys had the 6, Tom.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, they let a lot of kids play. And it was good. It was a good experience for them, and you always like to see that, some of these guys that work hard and come to practice and maybe not get the opportunity quite yet because the guy in front of them maybe playing a little better. But they did, Chase left all their starters in, the whole game. So, and I don't blame them. They were fighting hard trying to get a touchdown. Their quarterback, Hampton, he's a gamer. He's a hard-nosed, they just not quit. I'll give that Chase team a lot of credit, but they really just couldn't match up, Kevin. They couldn't match up front and sort of got beat up a little bit. And, naturally Pryor, they just had no answer for him. But another number of others, like C.J. Hopper, had close to 100 yards. Goodson at the end, Al Goodson, was running the ball very well. So no matter who they put in, we were able to run the ball effectively. And then defensively, Chase could never really get anything sustained. I mean, they made a couple of nice plays, but nothing really sustained. They got inside the red zone a number of times, turned it over on downs, had some turnovers, and just really, in all defensive, they didn't play well. Their starting nose guard was out. That hurt them. And a team like Chase is not real deep. Now you got to put your middle linebacker at nose guard. You know how things like that go, Kevin. Oh, yeah. Now you're really, scrambling and trying to fill the holes, and they just really could not adjust. I mean, there was just no adjustment that netted a Keywan Pryor stop. So, I mean, they, Pryor had 181 yards and a half, Kevin. Had a 60-yard touchdown, a couple of touchdowns altogether, another 27 yards in the air, so over 200 all-purpose yards. Just an amazing talent at Burns. Haven't seen, anything like Parsons, maybe like a Darius Ramsey, a few years back. But Keywan's he's probably the fastest, most elusive back I've ever seen in my 22 years at Burns. So, Burns has got a good thing going. They got a lot of momentum. I had it in my head they were playing Shelby next week, but it's East Rutherford, then Shelby.
Yeah, we got a couple of calls on that one, Tom. But, hey, even the great ones make a mistake. And I've got my tongue planted firmly in cheek here. So all you Burns Bulldogs fans, all you guys, don't call Tom and fuss at me or whatever. But I hate to say this, Tom, but not only were you the worst defensive team tonight, you were also the worst offensive team. You only scored 41 points.
Yeah, but we were the ones playing a team that had an undefeated record.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, So.
I said planted firmly in cheek, Tom.
And I got to thinking. Yeah, I got to thinking about that Shelby game. I guess that's the big one that's looming. You can't overlook East Rutherford. They can put up a lot of points, and anything can happen. But they're thinking about Shelby down the line. That's setting up to be the game of the year in the Southwestern 2A, and I think it's going to be a good game. Burns is going to have to go out and take it to Shelby and beat them 2 years in a row. They haven't done that in a long time. But they have to get by East Rutherford first, and if they do, that's going to set up
that's traditionally a very slobber knocker game for Burns and East when they get together. That's always a tough matchup.
Tom, real quick, how many touchdowns were called back tonight, or how many yards do you think Keywan Pryor lost tonight on flags?
I don't know. They had 110 yards at halftime, and I know they had at least they probably had over 200 yards in penalties. I mean, it's hard. Like when you're calling the game, you're really following the ball, and sometimes you miss those illegal blocks and things, and you're
especially
and Hunter was saying that it just seemed like they were calling the holds just a little tighter than a lot of guys do. And the block in the back, if it looked like the guy was pushing in the back, they're throwing a flag. Sometimes they're behind them, but they let up. They don't really push, and it's a judgment call. I've been reffing a little soccer. Did the guy push him down, or was it two guys just kind of playing shoulder to shoulder? It's legal. You see it in all sports. It can go either way, depending on who the ref is. And the refs just called it tight, and there were some touchdowns called back, and Kewan had a couple of long touchdowns called back. We had a long interception return called back, a long punt return called back. So there was a number of things that were negated by penalties. Regardless of what you think it really was, I'm sure Coach Devine and his coach staff going to have to get in the film room and look at what the guys are doing, make some adjustments in practice, and hopefully they'll get those problems straightened out.
I actually liked your comment tonight, Tom, when I was listening in, and I think you personally said one of the the refs there was probably have to have rotator cuff surgery when the night was over, because down at the Crest game, I basically said that guy's going to have Tommy John surgery when the night's over.
Yeah.
So whichever one happens, and it's usually, Tom, you've seen a lot of games, it's usually one official who's flag happy. It just sort of ruins the whole game for everybody else there.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, like as an official of a couple of different sports, I mean, I know some guys call it different. And, sometimes they just keep doing it. A lot of games. If you officiate and there's something you want to be tight on in this particular game, well, you call it a few times and that usually takes care of it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it was just persistent. I mean, it just kept holding penalty after holding penalty. Do they understand what you're calling, or are you calling too many, or what? I'll have to go back and look at the film this weekend and see what was going on. But I don't know, Dennis. I mean, usually, like I said, if you call something a couple of times and the players adjust to the game, and whatever you were calling, they'll adjust to it. But it just didn't seem to happen tonight, as there was a lot of holding calls and just, some things are obvious, like false starts and things like that. Holding does bring up a little bit more judgment into it, and they just were calling it tight. It is what it is. It did prolong the game a little bit. I mean, that first half pretty long, so it is what it is. Officials got a hard job. I don't want their job as a Friday night football official. That's a tough job. So, it is what it is. But I'm sure, like I said earlier, Devine and his coaching staff are going to get in, see what the boys did. Might be some technique issues of what they're doing. Might be something they're not conscious of what they're doing. But they'll work on it and get it straightened out.
All right, Tom. Appreciate your call, my man.
Tom, that sounded a whole lot different from what you were saying.
You coming in the morning?
Yes, I'm coming in. Well, you asked me.
You didn't respond. You didn't respond to my text.
I did. I don't know. You might have responded. If Terry's there, tell him I want the usual in the morning on the Mitchell's Kitchen Saturday Sports Talk.
He's sitting right here listening to you.
All right, Terry, and tell Terry that I was going to get your helmet today, but I was a little scared to bother Coach Devine. I asked him yesterday, and he said, "Yeah, we're getting them ready." So it should be any time, Terry. We're gonna get that Burns helmet for your collection. So it's on the way. I gotta make sure Devine's knocked out one of the 100 things that he's doing on a daily basis to go down there and get that thing. But it's coming soon. So we've got it. So Terry's man room at home can get that Burns helmet that it's been waiting for a while. So we're on it, Terry.
I got him a Crest helmet in there already. So the Bulldogs are behind. You've got to get him a helmet from Burns.
Yeah, I will.
Do you think, Tom? Do you think Terry takes those helmets in the bathtub like a little kid and bangs the helmets together?
he might.
What's he doing?
You know what he might be doing? Remember, like those times where you didn't have anybody to play with, so you just throw the football to yourself.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Terry puts on the helmets and runs around and throws the football.
Tom, I
up.
still do that now, man.
Writes the stats down.
I think his wife actually wears one of those.
She's probably tired of the helmets, I would imagine.
That's probably what it is. All
right, Tom, we'll see you tomorrow.
We'll work on that. But I was just listening to some scores, so all the Cleveland County, and then I was wondering. I was off and on listening on the way home. It wasn't West Lincoln. West Lincoln defeated Maiden. I heard that one by 1 point.
28-27.
Right.
Yeah, and there was who was East Lincoln playing tonight?
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
10-7.
What was the score?
10-7. Mustangs.
10-7. Who won?
They scored a touchdown
Mustangs
late to win.
Oh, okay, East Lincoln won that. I knew that was tight, and I knew that East Lincoln had a very good season going, and it sounds like Lincoln's kind of getting their act together a little bit, and they gave East Lincoln about all they wanted.
Give Tom your halftime score.
Tom,
what's that?
Tom, I texted him the scores. The Cleveland County 153-0 at halftime tonight, Finished with 210-6 was the final scores in Cleveland County tonight.
In Cleveland County.
Yeah.
And then the game of that, I guess I would really like to watch either one of those games, the West Lincoln game or the East Lincoln game. Sound like some good fun football being played around there in Lincoln County.
Great games in Lincoln County. Tom, how about Weddington 45-0 over Charlotte Catholic?
Really?
Really.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a shocker.
That's the big 3A and the little 3A state championship.
Catholics football team went to public schools this year.
They did.
What do you want me to say? That's what they did.
They must have not went to confession and skipped the rosary or something. God
too.
took out his wrath on them. Geez, 45-0. That one shocked me.
All right, Tom, we've got to do some more scores and the top 10, and then we're going to talk some Kewan Pryor in the morning and some more baseball and playoffs. We got playoffs to talk about, NASCAR playoffs too, and more tomorrow.
All right, I will be there. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, Tommy. Great broadcast. All right, guys, we're going to take a break here before the end of the show, final break before the end of the show. Real quick, we've got the players of the game, players of the week, and the score, Calvin. It's going to be about 2 minutes to go through this real quick. I got some players of the game from our broadcast. Tom just gave you some of his. Shelby, defense tonight. Nick Stites, offense tonight. Isaiah Best, 309 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. Overall, Giovanni Daly, 5 catches, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the good hands play of the game went to Deshaun Christopher. Deshaun is a pretty good basketball player, too, so you got to check him out during basketball. Tim and Ken tonight sent me theirs. Pearson Cunningham, the punter for East Lincoln, and Bernard Wingett from Lincoln were the best on defense tonight. Pearson is college material for punting is what they're saying. Cunningham also does a little place kicking, had a 27-yard field goal, and kicked the ball in the end zone on the kickoff. So the special teams big in the Lincoln East Lincoln game. Jalen Graham tonight, 127 yards, 4 touchdowns for Crest, MVP up there for the Chargers.
4 touchdowns.
4. And
none of which were called back.
I don't know how many they had called back tonight. And then, you ready for this, Will? Cherryville Ironman, they failed tonight. MVPs tonight for the Ironman. The kicker was the offensive MVP tonight, Dawson Moore. Met him a few weeks ago. But MVPs, defense and overall, it's all my family. My cousins got the defensive and the overall players of the game tonight. I don't even know if Milton knows either one of them is related to him, but I don't even know if Dad knows either. But Mason Grindstaff tonight, defensive player of the game tonight, sophomore, I think, is he's sophomore. It's my wife's first cousin, something like that. And then, of course, Jaden Blanton tonight, overall player of the game on offense, and Coach Pruitt will call us in the morning and give us the details on that. So, family's doing good. The rest of them would pick it up. We might win a ball game, right? I'm just playing with you guys. We'll talk to Coach Pruitt in the morning. But I want to thank for all the announcers and everything for sending those in. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back with scores and the top 10 in just a minute on KTCBroadcasting.com.
Going on now, the Echo National Sales Event at Shelby Hardware. Coming out for great deals, like an Echo CS 400 18-inch chainsaw. Buy now for $299 and get a free carrying case and a free chain. But that's not all. Save big on the Echo Electric Lithium Blower, model CPLV 58 for only $229.99. Don't miss it, the Echo National Sales Event going on right now at Shelby Hardware, 506 South Lafayette Street in Shelby. The kickoff sales event is underway at SNR Auto Sales in Shelby. The selection is absolutely unbelievable. No matter what you're looking for, you'll find it at SNR Auto Sales in Shelby. See their selection of trucks, vans, and SUVs, plus Mercedes, BMWs, Hondas, Cadillacs, Chevrolets, Nissans, Fords, and more. They have a vehicle for every need, and financing is available. Check them out at SNR Auto Sales, 417 South Post Road in Shelby. Become one of their satisfied customers today. Only at srautosales.com. Buy here, pay here at SNR Auto Sales in Shelby. Susie and Richie Knipe says now's the time to come in and save, with down payment starting at $9.99. That's right, only $9.99. Come see the selection: Hondas, Chevrolets, Fords, Nissans, Kia, Lexus, Volkswagen, Dodge, and even a Hummer, plus trucks too. Be another satisfied customer today. Buy here, pay here at SNR Auto Sales, 411 South Post Road in Shelby. Call 704-487-0570 or go online at srautosales.com. For over 100 years, the Stamey Tysinger Funeral Home in Fallston has been providing services to families of our community with care and compassion. And now the Stamey Funeral Home has added the Cremation Center along with a new name, the Stamey Tysinger Funeral Home and Cremation Center. The Stamey Tysinger Funeral Home and Cremation Center on Highway 182 in Fallston, and the Stamey Funeral Home in Cherryville, located on Dixie Street in Cherryville, serving you with care and compassion in your time of need. Congratulations to the Transportation Administration of Cleveland County for being awarded the Transit System of the Year from the North Carolina Public Transportation Association. TAC is a fixed van service with 33 stops in and around Shelby, transporting the elderly and disabled residents of Cleveland County with safe, dependable transportation with professional drivers. All vans are ADA compliant with wheelchair lifts. For more information, call the Transportation Administration of Cleveland County at 704-482-6465.
Number 6,
First and 10. We in the trenches. You like the water cooler. You be on the benches.
Well, good evening, folks. Welcome back to the Renaldo Automall post-game show. I'm Kevin Hastings.
I'm Dennis Davis.
Dennis Davis.
I'm Will Boykins.
Will Boykins in the house.
And that's
Joel's
Joel.
gonna sit down. It is top 10 time, but first we got to give some more scores, guys. Let's give the scores across the board.
All right, so I'm gonna take the full board over here. Over in Catawba County tonight, it was Bunker Hill 16, Fred T. Ford 14, Weddington over Charlotte Catholic 45-0. It was High Brighton over West Caldwell 52-0. It was Drawn over Patton 44-6. Mountain Charter over Union Academy 50-0. Watauga over Alexander Central 42-10. It was McDowell falling to St. Stephen's. That don't even sound right, but McDowell falls to St. Stephen's 28-7. Forest View over Ashbrook 42-35. West Lincoln over Maiden 28-27. North Lincoln over Lincoln Lake Norman Charter 63-0. Statesville over Carista King 35-6. It was Hickory over Freedom 23-22. Thomas Jefferson over Pine Lake Prep 70-16. Bessemer City over Highland 36-16. It was Newton Conover over Bandy's 36-13. It was Polk County over East Rutherford 35-19. South Point over East Gaston 54-6.
Will, we've got this bulletin just coming in off the news wires. The teletype has just reported that there's white smoke coming out of the chimney over in Rome at the Vatican.
Oh no!
The Pope has now decided to abdicate. Tonight's score was Weddington 45 and Charlotte Catholic 0. And he said, if they can't do no better than that, it's time for a new leader.
Oh wow! It was community school over Davison over Cherryville 26-14. Kings Mountain over North Gaston 70-0. Burns Bulldogs beat Chase Trojans 41-6. It was East Lincoln in a slobber knocker 10-7 over Lincolnton. It was Crest 48-0 over the Stuart Kramer Storm, and it was Shelby 51-0 over the Art Central Hilltoppers.
Y'all ready? Are y'all ready?
Do we need a drum roll here?
I guess if you want to give me one. Top 20. I got 20 teams tonight.
20?
We got
20
top
to the
top
20.
row. Just come to the top row.
Yeah, this is the What's Up Shopper Power Poll. We've got the top 20 after tonight's game already figured out and posted. We'll put the artwork on the internet tomorrow. Prior tonight, 181 rushing yards, 27 receiving, 2 touchdowns, the 60-yard touchdown run, and like I said, had a couple called back. So the way the WhatsApp Shopper Power Poll works, folks, it's easy. 4 points for a 4A victory, 3 for a 3A, 2 for a 2, 1 for a 1A. If you lose to a 4A school, you don't lose any points. If you lose to a 3A, you lose 1. If you lose to a 2A, you lose 2. And if you lose to a 3A school, you lose 3 points. After the points are added up, if we have a tie in the power points, the tie is broken by your record. So if you're 5-1, that's better than 4-1, and so on. If there's still a tie after those two, we go to defensive points allowed. And I think we only had one instance tonight where we had to go to defensive points allowed, and it was actually a 3-point difference in teams in defensive points allowed. So very good matchup here. In a minute, we're going to get to that. Well, Dennis, Cleveland County, before we start, is 4 of the top 6 teams. So I'll just let you know how the power poll is working out. So we're going to start over at number 20, Lincoln, and 2-4 on the season. They've got a grand total of -2 points. Bessemer City's at number 19. They've got a grand total of -2 points, but they get the tiebreaker on that with a 2-3 record instead of a 2-4 against the Lincoln Wolves. I'm going to take my headsets off so I can hear myself now. You guys are going. Let's see if we get out of everybody's way on the power poll that's watching. That's over at number 18. That's Community School of Davidson. They've got -2 points. They're 4-2 though, however, on the season. So they're up there at 18. And number 17, the Mountain Island Charter Raptors have a grand total of 1 power point on the season. They're 4-2 as well. And right where the people in Belmont thought they would be, right next to Community School of Davidson at 16 this season. 2 power points, guys, only out of Belmont. 2-4 on the season. Looking at their schedule, anybody think any different than that? We didn't see the Forest View loss, maybe, looking at that, but some of the other ones, maybe.
I don't think they saw the Burns loss either.
They didn't feel. You didn't think they did. A lot of people. Real quick, I want to give the Burns fans a team. You guys wasn't even getting votes in the Associated Press and the Carolina Prep stuff, I think, before the season started. And I sent a message to one of them like, you guys are vastly underestimating the Burns Bulldogs. They beat Shelby last year, so Shelby's number 1 in the poll. They moved Burns down to 2A. How are they not even ranked? If you don't want to put Shelby above them, I understand maybe. But how are they not even ranked in a lot of these things? So I think a lot of people overlooked them. And now, Dennis, we're heading to a big matchup in 2 weeks.
Well, that's why, Kevin, in spite of all this formula, it works out in the end.
It does.
The cream will rise to the top.
It is rising. East Lincoln about lost their spot tonight for Coach Lubowitz, but they hang in.
That is
they hung in tight tonight.
I want to get the huddle of that game because I just want to see the matchup of the play calling between Lubowitz and Coach Glass. That's
all right. Number 15, we're in the top 15. We got two teams tied with 3 power points. Forest View and Bandy's. Forest View ends up at number 15. They give up more points on the season than Bandy's has at number 14. Number 13, the RS Central Hilltoppers are at number 13 with 5 power points, 4-3 on the season. Then coming in front of them, the Rutherford County team starting to back up a little bit, Dennis. You were worried about last week after a couple were in front of you.
Well, there's contenders and there's pretenders, and
right.
Like I said, over the period of time, the cream will rise to the top.
Chase at number 12 with 5 power points. They lose tonight 41-6 up in Lawndale. They are number 12. Now 10 and 11, Maiden and Newton Conover. Now, folks, if you're watching online, you already know who the top 10 is because you can watch live on YouTube. I'm standing in front of the board. Just go to KTC Broadcasting. You can go to the links, or you can just search on YouTube. Newton Conover and Maiden this year, but guys, have 6 power points. They're all 4-2. Maiden gets the spot because they've given up 116 points on the season to Newton Conover's 119.
Ooh.
So 3-point difference. Those teams play in about 3, maybe 4 weeks, I think, on my schedule. I can't remember. I just looked it up 2 minutes ago. But it'll be on down. It's not next week. It is a couple weeks. But those 2 teams will play here soon. All right, that leaves us now the top 9 as Maiden gets the top 10. At number 9, after getting all the way up to number 5 2 weeks ago before falling to North Lincoln, the West Lincoln Rebels, Terry Reinhardt, 5-1 on the season. With 7 power points. They're tied with Thomas Jefferson, who has 7 power points. And they're 6-0 on the season. If you're wondering how that will work next week, well, if West Lincoln beats the 2A team and Thomas Jefferson beats the 1A, West Lincoln, they'll be in front of them, right, Terry?
Moving on up.
Let's Hit turn Terry on right there. I think that's he is on that one. Terry was wanting to move on up a little bit. They moved back last week. Now they moved back up a little bit this week. They are now the Rebels at number 9. Terry, did you get a homecoming queen report from West Lincoln yet?
No.
No. Okay. We'll get that in the morning. If someone send that to Terry, we'll talk about them in the morning. All right, guys. Next up in the power poll, like I said, number 8 was Thomas Jefferson, 6-0 there in the conference. I mean, overall, they're not in the conference 6-0, but 6-0 in that 1A that looks pretty good. We've been told by Coach Pruitt. He said they got a couple of kids that's going to play at the next level, Terry. So look out for the Griffons in those 1A playoffs this season. And also in the 1A playoffs, do they have buys in the football? That's the one they have buys. So they'll get a week off maybe. All right, in top 7, the North Lincoln Knights. Coach Basil in the game. 8 power points, 5-1 on the season for North Lincoln. I do want to say hello to Mark Ludwig. He commented on Twitter earlier today. Had some words for Steve as well. Also, David Allen had some words. And anyone else, we're going to kind of try to go through some of those tonight. Just too many to get through. But some of you folks that had the words online, we do want to thank you on the radio as well. All right, folks, that leaves us the top 6. All 6 of these teams are in double digits in power points. 10 being the least, and that's the Crest Chargers. They're at number 6, 5-2 on the season, in the number 6 spot with 10 power points. In the 5 spot are the Burns Bulldogs. They're 11 power points, 5-1 on the season for the Burns Bulldogs. So the Bullies are at 5. Well, this week we had a switch in spots. Huss had the week off, so they didn't acquire any points. Their second open week already, Terry, right? They get 2 weeks off this season. I've got them down on that, and I've looked online. I'm going to check back on that. But right now, we'll confirm tomorrow, and we'll put it out on the internet with the exact defensive stats and everything. But right now, I've got Huss at 4, Shelby at 3. East Lincoln held on tight tonight to the number 2 spot with a win. They've got 15 power points. Actually, kind of a cushion now on Huss and Shelby. Depending on how that works out, they might not even lose too many spots if they do lose a game. Can't lose 2 if they want to drop too many spots, but they might be able to drop 1 and stay there. But, of course, number 1, guys, 19 total power points. East Lincoln would have to win 2 games to catch Kings Mountain in power points. 7-0 in the season. The Kings Mountain Mountaineers with a statement win tonight. Just in case Huss was ever watching tonight, what do you think? 70
they didn't show
points
anything.
tonight. They didn't show them nothing than a 70-0 win.
They didn't show them, no. They didn't. Yeah, you got 70 points scored, but you got kids ripping balls from
just out of the offensive line's hands.
Well, the 96 yards.
The report was they said they was at the Crest game.
Well, that's not good for strategy, is it, strategy?
That's what somebody from Gaston County.
Unless, Joel, they're planning to beat Crest in order to stay in second place behind Kings Mountain.
Yeah, but I think they had somebody scout because he said he just said something to me about the Hudson coaches at Crest. I'm sitting there like, you playing them, they playing us.
Yeah.
Then I was like, I think he was the scout.
Well, back into my coaching days, a lot of times that's what would happen. Terry, you know how this works. We're playing, let's say, Shelby next week. I don't go to the Crest game, I go to the Shelby game because that's who I've got to bring the information back so that my head coach can see, tendencies and what goes on there. So that's probably the smart thing on Huss's part was to scout Crest tonight rather than.
I think they had somebody there, just didn't know which one it was. And I think, like you said, they was at 2 different games.
Hey, they could have went to either one and watched the other one on KTC broadcast. Well,
you
let me take that back. You couldn't have went to Kings Mountain and watched the Crest game because of the internet over there, but you could have went to the Crest game and watched the Kings Mountain game with a good internet up there around y'all.
But if you're in Gaston County, you can't watch anything.
You can watch all the Cleveland County teams play them. East Rutherford. So we do want to make some announcements in next week's
on CBS.
Right. So quick note, on this, North Carolina Athletic Association, which all these schools are members of, have the rules on broadcasting on what you can and cannot do. So they've basically given some of the choices to the schools on individual and what they've done. And some of the schools in certain counties are making other schools go by what they want to do and not exactly what that particular school wants to do. So we've got 4 or 5 counties around us that don't even allow video. So for you Cleveland County fans, you should be very thankful of your schools and everyone. Thank the people in charge. Sometimes the people that count the hot dog money are also in charge of who if we do the broadcast. There's some places we can't do video. Rutherford County don't allow it at all. We'll have to. Next week will be video. It'll be audio only for some of our games. I think we got a game at Chase and East Rutherford, and then there's certain Gaston County games we cannot do. We cannot show the Shelby at South Point game, even though South Point would turn away fans because the fire marshal would turn away fans over there if you've ever been to one of those games. But it doesn't matter to them whether we show the game or not, even though they're turning fans away. So if you are turned away at one of the games like South Point game, give us a call on the way back home on the radio. But just be thankful. Some of the ones that do let us do the games, we try to do our best. Cherryville, we will be doing there at Vesper City later in the season, so we get to do one game over there from Gaston County. So that's how that's going to work. So next week, Will, you've got the schedule right there in front of you. We've got Crest, Burns, Shelby over there to your left. Joel, kind of go look down through there and give me the games. I'm not in my normal seat, so games next week. The Cherryville game. We know we got North Lincoln and East Lincoln next week. Who we got on Crest?
All right. Well, Cherryville has the.
Is that Mountain Island next week?
Mountain Island.
Okay.
The Burns Bulldogs got East Rutherford.
Yep, at East Rutherford. Shelby's at Chase.
The Yellow Jackets.
Who's Crest got? We're not doing the Yellow Jackets game next. Who's Crest and Ashbrook? And that we should always have video on that. And then Kings Mountain next week as well. All right, got to round up, guys. Dad, Calvin, you want to be in on this? Let's all give a Renaldo Automall post-game show and see how good we can roll our tongues on this all together, okay? So on 3, we're going to say Renaldo Automall post-game show, our best Steve Robay impression, okay? 1, 2, 3. Automall post-game show. Thank you, Steve.
Good
we
night,
know
Mr.
what the
Roberts.
community wants and needs because we live here too.
Definitely in touch with the city and what's going on.
The Boss, 101.5 FM, 1390 AM, WOHS, Shelby.
I was dreaming last night when I got the notion to pack my bags and head out for the ocean. And I was thinking today, those good times last year, looking at the latest and drinking cold draft beer. Myrtle Beach days, we'll have some fun in the waves. I don't care what the